Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Y'all like, girl, get out of here so we can go home. Listen, I am standing in the way of these next 85 minutes while we navigate through our journey, our agenda for today's meeting, our second SHAC meeting of the school year. I am Lakeisha Mitchell, your SHAC chairperson, just a parent in the district. So here is our agenda. We will try to stick tight to the agenda. I know some of y'all, your day started at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock this morning, and y'all are trying to get home. But I do, real quick, before we go into our review of the minutes from the last meeting, I just want to drop this in here real quick, y'all. There's a lot going on in the world today. Amen. There's a lot going on in the school districts today. And y'all know I'm a former educator. Every week I get 2-3 messages a day from people about stuff that's happening in the districts around us. And 99.9% of it is all negative stuff. It's just rough. So this is my plug to say, thank you, Duncanville ISD, for keeping us as a positive spotlight in the news. And I know for a lot of you, these types of meetings is a part of your job. Y'all are doing this work anyway, so you're coming here because you have to. So even though it might feel like compliance for you guys, for us as parents, taxpayers in the community, it means a lot to know that our kids are taken care of and to know that the story that you guys are writing to keep us in the positive spotlight because so many great things are happening, it does not go for granted. So thank you guys for that. First up, we're going to have our review of our minutes from Mrs. Hall.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing well. A regular meeting of the School Health Advisory Committee of Duncanville ISD was held on Wednesday, October 8, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. in the Duncanville ISD Boardroom, located at 710 South Cedar Ridge Drive, Duncanville, Texas, 75137. Call to order. The presenter was Ms. Lakeisha Mitchell, the SHAC chair. The meeting was called to order at 4:30 p.m. We have welcome and introductions of member and guests presented by Ms. Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell introduced herself and welcomed everyone. Each member introduced themselves and stated their role in SHAC. Then we have the SHAC mission, bylaws and policy by Ms. Maylene Grant, Director of Nursing. Nurse Grant provided an overview of the School Health Advisory Council and bylaws, provided purpose of council and an overview of discussion topics to include the district wellness plan, health education, human sexuality instruction, mental health support, bullying prevention efforts, physical activity, and the employee wellness program. Then we moved on to the legislative updates presented by Ms. Tijuana Hudson, the Executive Director of Student Services and Campus Support. Ms. Hudson shared an update from the 89th Texas Legislature of bills related to discipline, routine school-based health services, social transitioning ban, the bathroom bill, cell phone ban, HB 6, SB 12, SBH, HB 1481. Discussion took place regarding recommended prioritization of the new laws and the legal restrictions for staff. First, then we moved on to first semester attendance updates presented by Ms. Alicia Bradley, Director of Student Services. Ms. Bradley discussed the purpose of student services to support student success by improving attendance rates. There are 4 goals for the year: increase district ADA to 93%, utilize interventions to address and reduce chronic absenteeism through proactive truancy prevention, support, strengthen family and community engagement, and enhance data tracking. Student Services implemented the following tasks to improve attendance: regular communication with parents and staff, workshops, personalized support, and recognition. We then moved on to Project Code Red, presented by Ms. Kelsey Smith and Leslie Villarreal, the Duncanville High School collegiate students. Ms. Smith and Ms. Villarreal discussed the purpose of Project Code Red to alleviate the financial burden of buying menstrual products for students and to give students a platform to express their ideas regarding menstrual equity. The timeline was shared from the introduction of Project Code Red to the fully established menstrual equity program. The students were asked for approval and support for Project Code Red to be implemented at Duncanville High School, with future plans of being implemented in the middle schools of Duncanville ISD. Then we had the election of officers presented by Ms. Maylene Grant, Director of Nursing. Nominations were made for co-chair and secretary. SHAC members voted and elected officers. Ms. Sandria Shields was elected as co-chair. Ms. Jamil Hall was elected as secretary. And then the meeting was adjourned at 5:30 p.m. by Ms. Maylene Grant, Director of Nursing.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. She was so quick and efficient and articulate. Come on now. Look, and meanwhile, I'm being a terrible host. I forgot to remind you guys to please sign in on the left-hand side if you have not done so yet, and help yourself to the refreshments that are there. And y'all, speaking of those minutes, let me tell you what's ironic. I always got a story to tell. Listen, my brother lives in Cedar Hill, and my nieces, they are 13 and 16, and they were going to Cedar Hill schools. Transferred to several different Cedar Hill schools, and they couldn't quite find their home. So they applied. My niece that's in 8th grade, she got accepted to Kennemer. So this is, when the school first started. My brother was there in the office, and he texted me. He said, "I thought you left the school district last year." I said, "I did." He said, "Nah, this paper is wrong, because somebody must have your name." So he was looking at the minutes from one of the SHAC meetings that was posted in the office at Kennemer. So just goes to show, you never know who's going to read these minutes, y'all. So thank you for that. You never know. All right, we are going to have a little shift in our agenda, and we're going to have a real big ho, 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 if you will, for our Panther Pantry. Ho, 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 y'all, come on, we can celebrate, yeah. All right, now, Miss Veronica, tell me how to say your last name.
Zamaripa.
Ms. Zamaripa.
Thank you so much. Little do y'all know, this is quite dangerous for me to have a microphone. So this meeting, hopefully y'all ate, because it's going to go for a long time. So I'm Veronica Zamaripa, and I have been blessed to be part of the Panther Pantry for this coming school year, and hopefully for many years to come. So my official title is Parent and Community Liaison with the district. And so that's my logo there. But just a little bit about the Panther Pantry. It's operated by the Duncanville ISD Family and Community Liaison. The Panther Pantry provides food, clothing, hygiene products, and school supplies to students and families in emergency situations and experiencing financial struggles. And not just families or students, but we also assist district staff as well. So this is a very important part here. So every, Ms. Henry from communications, she sends out communications through Peach Jar, and it'll have the flyer of the pantry. So it will inform parents, like if you have a need for food, clothing, hygiene, etc., all they have to do is scan that QR code, follow the link, and it will ask quite a bit of questions for them, just for us to have some details. In addition, if there are any community member that would like to donate, we also have like an Amazon wish list, but also it gives you a little bit of detail of other things that we accept as donations, gently used clothing, etc. One of the things that's really important is that the flyer, we have them on every campus, the front office, so parents have, let's just say they're a little embarrassed, they don't want to ask, it's there at the front office, and they could just click away, and then that link will come to me. And then I will reach out to the families and answer any questions, and then schedule those appointments with them. This, to me, was the biggest part of all. So these are just some of our partnerships that we have. These are, as I like to call them, our little angels here. Especially the Duncanville Rotary Club, who they've given from clothing to just random food that we're needing at the pantry at the time. Now, granted, we do receive food from the North Texas Food Bank, but we also know that those are all non-perishable goods, but sometimes families want mac and cheese, ramen soup, spaghetti sauce. And so all these different wonderful donors have given to the pantry. The only thing I did not list are the individual donors, which we also are blessed to get a lot of individual donations as well. And then we also, if you notice some of the schools, for example, Hastings, Acton, Byrd, and then Duncanville High School, which was just mentioned in the minutes, they've also donated a lot to the pantry as well. In regards to the Project Code Red that was mentioned earlier, the organization actually wrote letters of encouragement to our pantry parents that visit in English and in Spanish. So I thought our families love them a whole lot. And so that's also a big plus, for the families, because it's not just about, yes, we're wanting to provide the food, the clothing, or items that they're needing, but also some kind of moral support as well, which I think they're really grateful for. And so again, that's why I mentioned a little special thank you to the many individuals who wrote those encouragement cards for our parents, because it allows them to just take something with them and read when they're not, at the pantry. And I think that is pretty much, yes, all of my presentation. I know I probably spoke quite quickly. Are there any questions? I have answers. So I'll give you another, I was mentioning that the parents have those cards that they can read. The other thing that I forgot to mention to you all, if a parent, as they're exiting the pantry, they can also write some words to our donors. How has this impacted you? Or how can we do better? And so I have some here that I don't want to read it, because that's one of the things I told them. I promise not to read it, because it would probably be too emotional for me. But I'm going to pass some of these around, and you could just read it quietly, just so you can have an idea as to how grateful these parents are for what we offer. For us, maybe we're thinking, oh, it's just some peanut butter crackers, But to a lot of our families, it is an extra little snack. It is something that they don't have to worry about after school, So to me, it touched my heart to read, these little notes, because it lets me know, like, yes, okay, we're making an impact. And so without the folks here, we wouldn't be able to make that impact, So that's all I wanted to, yes, sir.
I just want to sing your praises. We had our first pantry drive, and it went outstanding. You did a great job with organizing, with getting everybody there. Your energy was great, so other people's energy was great. So you're doing a great job.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I wanted to tell you the numbers since the end of August to today. We've served over 560 students, over 660 community. In other words, it could have been their parent or grandma, grandpa, and living in the home. So it's been quite a bit, but it's great. It is great. So if there are any questions in regards to donations, we do take gently used donations. We have the Amazon wish list as well. Like I mentioned, like the ramen, a big thing. Mac and cheese, huge thing. But just, it helps our youth as well. One of the things that we're going to do is partner with a team over at the high school. Some boys are going to come over and do some of the hanging up of the clothing and stuff like that. It helps a lot. My daughter is a volunteer there at the pantry, and my granddaughter, again, so it helps just build them as young people, but it also lets them see how fortunate they are that they have those things, you know, so. But thank you for your time. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. In my house, y'all, we had a family meeting last night talking about just that, and we let our kids know going forward, we're gonna volunteer our time back when it comes to the holidays, because, and I know we're not gonna read the cards, but one of them, the message said, thank you, because now I feel better about myself. And can you think about how much it takes for adults to humble themselves enough to say, I need help? You know, at any given moment, anybody can be in any situation where we need to reach out. So just to know that Duncanville ISD is here, thank you for that. Next on our agenda, we are going to have a review of our wellness plan by Nurse Grant.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. Crystal will be up here with me as well. And for those of you, if you haven't already signed in, I'm gonna ask you to please sign in and have refreshments. We're gonna review our wellness plan. So we had reviewed it, I wanna say last school year, and we have done some updates and revisions, which is on your table. When we get to that point, I'm gonna ask you to look at them, compare the old one with the revised one. But please leave them here on the table. You can write on either one, and I'll get them and look at them. Once the committee have made suggestions or just say it looks well, then we'll present it to the senior leadership team. Once they get approved, the final approval, we'll post it on our website, and that way, when people look at the website, they can see our wellness policy, as well as click on some of the links that you will see. So the wellness plan follows applicable state and federal nutritional guidelines that advance student health and shall promote general wellness of all students through nutrition education, physical activity, and other school-based activities. So we promote students' wellness, prevent and reduce childhood obesity, and provide nutrition education materials. And Crystal can speak more to the plate, but it's divided into what plates should look like. You should have your fruit. Since she's in nutrition, I just let her tell what we should have on our plate.
So we want to divide our plate into fours, have a portion of fruits and vegetables on half of the plate, and then about a quarter of the plate grains, quarter of the plate proteins or your meat, and then some added dairy to finish off your meal.
Okay, so now with the wellness plan, again, you have a copy on the table, and I'll give you a few minutes to look over both the old one and then the updated one. I want to say the old one, it hadn't been revised since 2017, and we talked about it, but now we have it and are pretty much ready to move forward with making all the recommended changes. Some of the changes was recommended here, and then Ms. Maricom, which was here last year, she and I worked on it some, and then Crystal and I have met and will continue to meet to make sure that our wellness plan is standard, fits the standards, and actually fits what we're doing here in Duncanville. So it's at your table. You have pens available. Compare it. I'm gonna stop talking to let you all compare. Any suggestions, anything that stands out, or any questions you might have, you can write them down, and then I will get back with the answers. Does everyone have a copy? I have extra copies if somebody needs. The yellow, the one that has the yellow is the one that we're moving toward. The one that's not, yes. give you all just a few more minutes. Okay, we're getting ready to come back together based on the conversation level in the room. I think everyone has either had a chance to review or have questions that they may have. Some of the things like you may compare what changes was made. Does the updated plan reflect best practices or goals clear and measurable? And does the updated plan address required components? So if you notice our required components, nutrition education, physical education, mental health education, substance abuse education, physical education, and staff wellness. And if you've been in our SHAC meetings, you would know that we do cover all of those components during our SHAC, and we go out and measure. One way that our goals are measured is during the beginning of the school year. Child Nutrition sends a survey to the principals, and the principals are required to submit the survey back by September 30th to let us know, to let Child Nutrition know when they're having like vendors such as In-N-Out Burger or any other vendor that will come in and identify like the birthday parties. And so I know there was some questions that someone had, and at this time I'm gonna bring the mic and Crystal will be able to answer nutrition questions. And the reason why we have to be on the mic, because our meetings are recorded. So if you ever go back and look, those meetings are recorded.
Hello, Kristen. Ms. Kristen, I wanted to ask, how does parents communicate with like the school cafe? So I know that, for example, the children are served milk almost daily. And I know children are, specifically, my child is lactose intolerant. So we just inquiring, like, are there any other options? And then how do we communicate with the cafe or the school cafeteria that our child would need an alternative?
Sure. So there's, according to the TDA regulation, there's no substitute for milk. And so, but they are working on that now, since so many children do have, they're lactose intolerant or they need a plant-based milk. They are working on that, so the regulations are changing in that area. So we may have some further guidance or recommendations coming out soon. But at this time, we don't have any substitutions for milk, other than we do provide the water at breakfast and lunch that they can access.
Well, I know students are on like free and reduced lunch. Is there a thought maybe for teachers who have income issues where they can also get a free lunch because of the fact maybe their income, even though they're making $60-some thousand a year, they might have 5 kids at home, so therefore
Right.
their income to be down. Is there any consideration maybe giving our teachers a free lunch or breakfast if they qualify for certain financial reasons?
Right. I would love to do that. I think that's a great idea. I think that would have to be a district decision because, again, we fall up under USDA and TDA for our regulations, and they are the ones that say, you know, we can't give a free meal to anyone outside of the child nutrition department, right? So staff, teachers, principals. But if that would be a conversation maybe we could have with the district and see if there's a fund, or could the district fund those meals or something like that. That would be an excellent idea.
My question is about, with other options as far as with drinking water or, water. Are there other options, let's say, for vending machines, not with like sodas? I'm sorry, I'm from Louisiana. Not with cold drinks and things like that. We're talking about like Gatorade, water, muscle milk, different things that can kind of help nutritional options, healthy nutritional options. Not soda,
Right.
not soda. Right?
Right.
But
I got
other
it.
options like water, Gatorade, Powerade, things, less sugar, things that might be, are there options, is it any opportunities or avenues for those to be sold and used?
There are,
Yeah.
but right now, so we do sell some of those options at the high school level, but we fall up under smart snack rules, and so that's again from USDA, and a lot of those beverages aren't allowed to be sold outside of the high school age group. So middle school, elementary students aren't allowed to have access to those through the child nutrition department.
Okay.
So that's why vending machines are limited, because we can't control who buys them or when they have access to them. And then in the child nutrition and the cafeterias, that's why they're only at the high school level. So we do try to bring in options for them, but right now the rules say only 9th through 12th graders can have access to like the Gatorades and stuff like that.
Yes. So it's an addendum to that question. Let's
Okay.
say that the high school athletic training staff or the sports medicine department at the high school wanted to sponsor a vending machine. They put everything that was in the school smart safe. I heard you, but
The smart snacks.
the smart snacks,
Yeah.
exactly. They put only items in the smart snacks that were listed in this, on that smart snacks list in that vending machine.
Yes.
Is that an option for a department or an organization at the high school for a potential fundraising?
Possibly. I would have to read the regulations on that because they do have rules on times that those foods can be accessed, and they have definitions of when a school day starts. And I don't have all that memorized. I know we're in compliance, but if anything new, I'm going to have to read up on that and make sure. But that's absolutely something we could look into.
So a quick two-part question.
Okay.
Number one, going back to the reduced meals for educators, how is the amount set for the district? Is that something that's,
It's
Like-
a calculator.
but we as a district control how much
Are you talking about milk
lunch
pricing?
is for each child? Yeah, like is there a committee that says lunch will be $4 or it's gonna be, or is that mandated down?
That's mandated.
Okay.
So we get a calculator and we have to plug in like a USDA food value.
Okay.
Since our district participates in the National School Lunch Program, we receive USDA dollars, USDA commodity dollars. And so there's a number to plug in for the USDA contribution. And then, there's a formula.
No, it
But-
makes sense.
so-
Thank you for educating,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we plug in all those numbers and then it says, okay, based on your district
This meal,
right.
this
All
is what
these
it
rules,
should be,
this
yeah.
is what it has to be. It has to be at least this much.
Okay.
So we only raise our prices unless we are required to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one last question, just to educate me. So I think we're the best district, hands down, let me say that.
Absolutely.
But in my main job, I do work with all of the districts. So I've been there during lunch. Who are our counterparts that also follow this rule? Or are all the major districts a part of the
So
SMART?
any school district that's part of the National School Lunch Program, and most of them in our area are,
Okay.
follow the same rules that we follow here.
Okay. So the menu differences is just based on the culture of the district and what they decide on their menu?
Right, and their menu planner. Now,
Okay.
some districts have, like food service management companies, and some districts are self-operated like we are. So you may see a little bit difference there.
Okay,
If districts have the same company, you may see a trend with those. It just depends, but, you know,
Okay.
we're self-operated where some of the districts are not.
yeah,
But even districts that have a company in there, they still have the same rules to follow as we do.
okay. Because I saw a 6-piece wing with carrots, celery, no, I'm not this week. And then earlier today, I was at a district,
Okay.
very close neighboring district, and the kids had calzones and pizza, but the pizza wasn't like the square pizza I grew up. Square pizza day was the bomb when I grew up, right? But these kids today, they don't do square pizza. I still do square fish at Luby's. But needless to say there, they came in like a nice pizza. Yeah, and they opened it with their own personal kind of pan slice of pizza. And again, I like us to set the bar in anything we do.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute. So I just wanted to educate myself more. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, you know, back to the square pizza, it's funny. So then, now this has been a couple years ago, so we revisit pizza often. We tried to bring in specialty pizzas, don't want it. We tried to bring in stuffed crust pizza, don't want it. They kept wanting the square pizza. They want the square pizza. Right? I'm thinking, I want stuffed crust, I want all the toppings, I want to put on all my stuff. No, you keep it simple. They want pepperoni or cheese in the square. I don't know, maybe it's just comfortable, I don't know, but yeah, so we do revisit that often to make sure, I mean, our kids come and go, they graduate, we get new kids, so we do try to make sure that we're staying on top of, hey, what do these kids want? But historically, they want that square pizza. So, but yeah, thank you.
All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, we're gonna move on. Again, if you made notes, I will pick them up, review your notes, and then before this school year is out, we will revisit the wellness plan where you all can see what the revisions were and where the plan can be finalized. But thank you all for your participation. If you have any other questions or think of any suggestions, you can email me at mgrant@duncanvilleisd.org. And I'll be glad to try to answer those questions. And then the questions that were asked, like the reduced lunch for staff, we'll take those questions and see if we can get answers to them. I don't know, but you never know if you don't ask. So, all righty. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So I do want to go back to this slide real quick and give my apologies because I promise you I can read and I can see, especially when I have my glasses on. I did not introduce Miss Crystal Esquivel to be a part of this, and she's actually up next for our last agenda item. I'm sorry, fingers not working too well. Oh, no, was that it? Oh, we do. Do chief and then do her. Alrighty, I'm gonna get myself together one of these days, y'all. We have our chief of police coming up next for our safety and security updates. Whoop, whoop. Mr. Max, tell me how to say your last name. Guerin, Mr. Max Guerin, thank you.
Don't worry if you mispronounce it. I promise you, probably even today, I've been called worse. All right, good evening, everybody. I appreciate the invitation to be here. What I want to do is, Ms. Grant asked me to talk about updates, where we're headed as an agency and department, what security looks like for the district, to give you an update. So I wanted to talk about a phrase that the legislature introduced called the good cause exception. And what that has to do with is the unfunded, underfunded mandate that they placed upon school districts a number of years ago, where they said, oh, hey, school districts, you have to have an armed person at every campus. We're not going to pay you for it, or we're going to pay you very little for it, so figure it out. And then there was much pushback and said, hey, we can't do this immediately. Okay, well, here's your exception. And as long as you have a plan to get yourself there, that you're working in good faith to attain, then we will allow that. Fast forward to last year, the legislature came back because people were slowly moving towards this, and some were not moving, some were stagnant. Hopefully none were regressing. But they said, okay, we're going to put some more onus on you. Every year you now have to go before the board and make sure that they approve your good cause exception. So we had to do that. We did that at the last meeting before last. And so here's the plan that I presented. And I will tell you what I did is I went back and looked. I've been here since February. I went back and looked at the previous good cause exception and what direction the board had previously adopted to take. And I took a very similar approach. So I can tell you right now, this is our current 25-26 budget year. We have 4 police officers currently and 2 vacancies. I just hired, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I just hired one, and so we were looking to be full here in the near future. But I've got those 2 vacancies. Just hired one; she's on training right now, and I have a handful of level 2 security officers. Those are unarmed security personnel, and that's not counting the parking guards. Most of those security officers are assigned to the high school. We have currently, I'm staffing at least 2 officers at the high school each day. And that's where we spend a majority of our time, between there and the middle schools, as you can imagine. Thankfully, the elementary kids haven't caught on. There's no uprisings in elementary with crayons or anything like that. And I'm predicting it will stay that way. At least I'm hopeful. I will tell you that I'll share this. One of the greatest parts of my job, being the boss, I get to decide where I go and eat lunch, and generally when I do that. So I try to go at least a couple of times a month. I'll probably grab Chick-fil-A or grab something else. I will go to one of our elementary schools, and I walk in. And the first few times I did this, they looked at me like I was crazy. Because, hey, which way to the cafeteria? Oh, are you here to meet a student? No, I'm just here to eat lunch. Are you eating lunch with someone in particular? No. I'm going to go sit with the elementary kids and eat lunch. Why would you do that? It's because I want to sit with the elementary kids. And so I can confirm, square pizza, cheese pizza is the best. That was the conversation I had just last week. Amelia at Fair Meadows loves the cheese pizza. She likes it with pepperoni sometimes. But she also agreed with me that watermelon was the best fruit. She asked me that. So I digress. And so that's our current staffing. So going forward for next year, our proposal is to add 2 additional sworn police officers, and we will add 7 level 3 armed security officers. We will spread those out, and this is all tentative. It will adjust some, but the goal is to have 7 so that starting next year, we will, if you're familiar with class schedules, A days and B days, we will assign an officer on an A day, they will report to one elementary school. On a B day, they will report to another. So we won't be perfectly whole. We won't have an armed officer at every campus, but the elementary schools will begin primarily sharing an officer. So every other day, you should have an armed officer at every elementary campus. Hyman Elementary is the one exception because I looked at the map and it's way out there. It will take longer for a response team to get there. So they will have a dedicated level 3 armed security officer next year every day of the week. So that's a step in the right direction. We'll add capacity. And again, we will increase our presence at the high school, and we will have police officers and a combination of police officers and unarmed security at our middle schools as well. I understand there may be adjustments with which campuses are open and how the district looks. We will be prepared to adjust to that. Got it? Okay. The following year, we will hire 7 additional level 3 security officers, armed security officers. We will have a total of 14 armed security officers, and we will add 1 new police officer position for a total of 9. We will add a new sergeant position to maintain span of control and oversight. Because once you get above about 5 to 7, you don't have effective supervision. And when you don't supervise police officers, you have use of force issues. You have other issues that come up that aren't good, right? So we want to have consistent and accountable supervision. We will have the ability, we'll break our security personnel down into 3 squads. So we will have security supervisors, and so they will have direct reports, and we'll have a manageable span of control for them as well. And so each supervisor will have the ability to look only over an X number of security officers, so we can coach and counsel with them and make sure that our messages are getting shared, they're getting appropriate oversight, and being held accountable for their work as well. And then we'll have 1 security coordinator. So we'll have 2 additional police officers, 7 new level armed 3, a total of 14 armed security positions. This will significantly help us with oversight, with safety. The security officers will add that additional armed component. They won't be police officers. They will still be security officers. But they will be trained above and beyond what the state requires of them. We have the challenging part is right now that you can be a security officer. You can be 18 years old. You can go get your level 3 security license with a minimal amount of training, and you can go to work and come back working at a school. That's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable it shouldn't be acceptable to you. And so we have, there's a security company that provides armed security officers under contract for Arlington Independent School District. We are choosing to employ our own level 3 security officers so that they will be district employees. It will save us. You can go there and you can contract and they can provide security. You're going to pay more for that, but you also you're paying for the alleviation of you don't have to provide them with uniforms. They'll do all that. They handle all the training and all of that other stuff. But it will be more cost efficient and effective for us to hire these officers, contract with the security company to provide that initial training and the school-based law enforcement training, and then we will retain those employees. My goal is that we continue to increase our professionalism, standardization, and following of best practices. And that leads me to my next goal is achieving accreditation through the Texas Police Chiefs Association. So there are a number of hurdles that TPCA looks at, and it's not just do you have best practice policies, it's are you following your own policies? So there is proof. You have to adopt the policies, and then there's a proof requirement so that they come in, they will audit you, they will look at your stuff to make sure that you're doing what you say you're doing, and what you say you're doing is in keeping with best practices, and then you achieve accreditation. There's less than 300 agencies throughout the state of Texas that are accredited, and very few school districts. So it's an ambitious goal. It's one that will take us a few years to get to, but we're starting that process, and we're headed that way. Some of the things that we have implemented since we started, and I can tell you that we have the thing that keeps police chiefs up at night, especially those that do any kind of school-based law enforcement. Do I have the right personnel in those schools to make the right decisions? Because I promise you, and you know this, YouTube is replete with videos of officers that should have never been placed in schools. They don't have the emotional judgment, maturity. They can't differentiate between when to use force or when to even get involved. I'm very pleased that all of our officers have the heart for service and are doing something that they love. My job is to help polish it and bring in experience and consistency and help them achieve their goals. They all want to become better and more professional. So we've implemented a platform called Lexipol, and that helps us with policy management. So Lexipol, we were able to issue our policies and procedures electronically. The officers are able to acknowledge them. They have access to them on their phone. So if they have a question, "Well, what am I supposed to do in this situation? What does our policy say about what we're supposed to do?" And they can access that at any time through their phone. And we have the digital proof to say, yep, these are our policies, and every officer's received them, and here's the date and time that they acknowledge that they read and understand these policies. And so we track that. We also track use of force and other metrics via that platform. We added security cameras this year and upgraded them. Over the Christmas break, we'll be adding additional security cameras to the portable island there at the high school, which will be an added benefit. We installed new servers, and for staff and teachers and administrators in the district, I know that's been a bittersweet, because it's been a challenge for people that had access before and now they don't have access, but we're getting access. Some of that has to do with the Windows 11 updates and the adjusting the accounts. I promise you, it's not Adam Wilson, my tech guru. It is the software vendor, but we're working through those issues. And I apologize if I'm going too long. I'll try to be quick. But that's the issue. So if you didn't have access and you don't have access now, but you did before, please let us know, and we'll help liaise with the vendor to make sure that we get that updated so that you get that. I'm excited. We added radios, mobile radios to our squad cars. Before we had relied on handheld radios, and I will tell you that in-car radios are more powerful. We do things around the Metroplex, and so part of my goal is to, again, make us more professional and in keeping with best practices. Having access to communications in the squad cars is important to me, and so we just recently got those installed and programmed, so each of the squad cars has a radio. We're about to install MDTs, mobile digital terminals, or mobile data terminals, basically laptops in our squad cars, which will enable, most of my officers have never had that technology in their squad cars because they've started here. I've got one sergeant who's got 12 years of experience who actually knows what that's like. So this is going to be a game changer, to use a cliche phrase. For my officers, they will be able to communicate via those MDCs directly with the dispatcher. They'll be able to generate their own report numbers. They'll be able to do the reports from their car, from the computer. They'll have access to the cameras from their squad cars. So no matter where they are, they'll be able to see any of the cameras in the district from those cars. And it will they'll be able to check suspects and check records and do all of that. All of the stuff now that they would have to go through the dispatcher to do, and therefore don't do very often, they'll be able to do directly from the cars. It's gonna, I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be like Christmas. Wow, Chief, I didn't know we could do. Yeah, you can do that. You can do all that good stuff. So I'm excited to bring those sorts of things and to add the training opportunities. We just sent 2 officers to field training officer school, and I told them, you don't know what you don't know until you start trying to teach somebody how to do what you do. And they're realizing that and learning cool phrases like vicarious liability and failure to train and negligent retention and all of those good things that you start having to be responsible for when you're a trainer. But they're rising to the challenge. They're excited. We have great partnerships with the city of Duncanville and our other law enforcement partners. I tell people, so I started my law enforcement career with the Dallas Police Department in 1992. I graduated and I came to work here in the Oak Cliff area. So Southwest was my area. My first beat assignment was 436's beat, which is the woods, which is the area of the city of Dallas right down here. Back in the day when Kennemer was Duncanville 9th grade. And that was, so I would write school zone speeding citations back in the day there. So coming here is like coming home, and I'm thrilled to be here. I can honestly tell you, I have never worked an assignment that I have enjoyed more than I have in the short time that I've been here, and it all has to do with the people. Job hasn't changed. Maybe some of the aspects have, but it's thrilling to work with people who want to learn, who want to grow, and having a hand in guiding that. And talking about philosophies about policing, and this is why we don't do certain things, and this is how we become better. And I can't brag enough about the people, both in security and policing, that want to do that. There are other jobs they could do. There are other jobs that don't put them in harm's way. But they like having that interaction with the kids and making a difference. So I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to take any questions. I hope I haven't taken up too much time. But if you have any questions, even if you don't have them now, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer. I always like to talk about the things that the officers are doing. It's good stuff. So, no questions?
I have one.
One question.
So, you know on Camp Wisdom when you're turning to the high school? I know.
Yes.
Everybody knows that, right?
Yes.
Every day as a mom, my heart just stops. Because them babies, they don't go to the crosswalk, they just step out. I did talk to one of your police officers that was in our high school area, and he was like, "You're absolutely right. We too, really want to make sure that Hill was safe." Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Is that something that's really more of a city side that we need to have? Because I was like, I don't know what we would need. I don't think it needs a light. A permanent crossing guard. I don't know, but
So,
I've seen parents drop off in the middle lane. And
No.
it's like,
no, that never happened.
I know.
And they don't pick up there either.
It's like, it gets real creative in the morning. And they're just trying to get their kids there all the time.
So, yeah, welcome. That's the other thing that keeps me up at night. I'm glad I quit drinking a long time ago. But I will tell you, no, it's a challenge. It is a combination, right? Duncanville helps us patrol. So at this point, we don't have radar or LiDAR, which is laser, in our cars. So we don't do speed enforcement. We don't really do a lot of traffic enforcement. Number one, because the number of people that we have don't allow us that ability. I want us to get there because I'm an old traffic officer. I still stop people. I still write tickets, much to some people's dismay. But that's an integral part, right, of doing that enforcement, even if it's just giving a warning. But in the afternoons, every time we are available, we have an officer, generally it's Sergeant Russell, that stations himself across the street at the Shell, because that's where people congregate. So we have that visible deterrence over there. And then Officer Passos generally goes to A-Lot because the people funnel out and they go across the street to get there. And so we will help direct traffic. We've got security officers that stop traffic down where the band hall is, near the portable complex, not just for the buses, but to help facilitate the traffic crossing there. The morning is a little bit more difficult because not everybody arrives in, like in the afternoon, you got that one major push and we can spend 30 minutes out there and get everybody out there for the most part. Traffic in the morning is a little more challenging. And I will tell you this, well, Chief, why don't you just assign an officer out there to help when the people do come in? Great thought. What we found is that when we do that, then we get more fights on the inside because of teen brain, right? And this machismo, and I've got to defend all this. And so when the officer's not present on the inside of the school, then we start getting issues there. So our primary responsibility is the school itself. And so I will periodically request when things flare up, we'll work partnership with the police department, with the city police department. Towards the end of the school year, we will pay, the district will pay to have additional officers from Duncanville come in and assist us in the high school. And we do that at the home football games as well, and some of our sporting events where we only have so many police officers to work so many extra duty assignments, and so we have to hire from the outside. And so we continue to maintain that good relationship, and they're familiar with our folks, and we have a very symbiotic relationship. When they need intelligence about potential suspects that are at the high school, and we help share and further that. So I empathize. I don't have a perfect answer. I would tell them. Yeah, and I would tell my son, you don't get hit by a car if you look both ways, and get off that phone. I would hate to have to come to your funeral, but I'm that dad. But I can't say that to other people's kids. So I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
Sure, no, you're very welcome. Anything else? Thank you guys for taking time to be here, heading the Safety and Security Committee. It's a commitment to come, especially parents, especially if it's not your job. This is your passion, your concern. Thank you for being involved. and for all you do to support the district. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your plan. Thank you for your intellect. Thank you for your enthusiasm. It does make me feel good as a parent. My husband's an administrator in a close by district, and they've got some security issues. So thank you. Thank you.
I think we have vacancies here, right? So.
I'm telling you. All righty. We're going to have Ms. Esquivel to come back to go over our child nutrition meals program.
All right, thank you so much. So I'm just going to run through some of the programs that we offer in child nutrition here in Duncanville ISD. We offer the school breakfast program, the National School Lunch Program, after school snack program, and the summer feeding program. During breakfast, our students are required to take 3 items. If they eat breakfast and they want to have that as part of their reimbursable meal, they have to have 3 items. One of those has to be a fruit or 100% fruit juice. This year, there's a new rule, unlimited added sugar for breakfast cereals, yogurt, and flavored milk. And here in Duncanville, all of our students can have a free breakfast if they want to get to school and eat breakfast, regardless of their application status. If they're free, reduced, paid, it doesn't matter. All of our students can eat free breakfast. This is just kind of a snapshot of some of the rules that we have to follow to make sure that we meet all of the breakfast rules and regulations based on age and grade groups. So as you see, some of the younger kids, like in the K-5 age group, we're not required to offer them as many, since they're younger, as maybe some of the high school students. During the lunch program, the foods are broken up into 5 components: grains, meats, fruits, vegetables, and milk. So one of the challenges is just as far as training staff is at breakfast we look at items, at lunch we look at components. So a breakfast sandwich at breakfast time is going to be 1 item. A hamburger at lunchtime is going to be 2 components. So that's always kind of a training thing, especially even for the kids too. They grab something at breakfast, it's 1. They grab a sandwich, that can be 2. Now I just need fruit. So that's always a little bit of a training issue, but they do a great job with it. We have to offer all the components, all 5 components at lunchtime every day. The students don't have to take them, we just have to offer them. And so the students at lunchtime have to take 3 components. 1 has to be a fruit or a vegetable. So they could come through the line, get a hamburger, which is their grain and their meat, and grab half a cup of peaches, and they're good to go. They can take all of it if they want to, but that's just the minimum they have to take. Also at lunchtime, all of our grains that we offer are whole grain rich. That's not a requirement. I believe now the rule is 80%, but here in Duncanville, 100% of our grains are whole grain rich. Our milk here is either fat-free or low-fat. Every day we have meat or meat alternates offered to the students. A meat alternate would be either like cheese, eggs, pretty much cheese or eggs here. Fruit is offered every day at lunch, and then our menus are analyzed weekly for calories, saturated fat, sodium, and coming soon next year will be added sugar. Again, this is a snapshot of our lunch requirements based on age grade groupings. So the after school snack program is just that. It's a snack that we can provide at no charge to campuses that are offering a enrichment program after school, like tutoring or school clubs. So if the campus is interested in doing that, the principal can just reach out to us and let us know, hey, this is the enrichment program we want to do, this is how many snacks we're going to need. We can submit that for approval and get that program going at campus. And during the summer, we offer the summer feeding program. It's available for any child 18 years and younger. They don't have to be a student here in Duncanville ISD. As long as they're 18 and younger, they can get a breakfast or lunch here in Duncanville. So we try to make sure that we're offering healthy meals so we can help improve students' focus, attendance, their performance in the classroom. If they're hungry, they can't focus. So we want to make sure we're here providing breakfast and lunch every day to the students that need and want it so they can perform at their best, whatever they're doing here. We try to help ensure that students have access to nutritious foods, and hopefully we encourage them to have a lifelong healthy eating habits. My goal is to always teach the kids that you can eat the foods that you like in a healthy way. A lot of times people see pizza on the menu every day at the high school and they go, oh, you're giving pizza to our kids every day. But I always, I love it that it's a whole grain pizza and it's low fat and it's low sodium. And so it looks like pizza, but technically it's a pretty healthy option for lunch. So that's how I justify having pizza every day myself if I want to. It's a healthy version. So that's what we hope we can teach our kids. You can eat the stuff you like and still have it in a healthy way. Last year, we served over 300,000 breakfast meals, over 1 million lunches, almost 13,000 pounds of fresh baby carrots, and almost 300,000 fresh apples. So we are trying to get fresh fruits and vegetables in front of these kids as often as we can. The Nutrition Services Department is also part of the wellness policy, like we talked about earlier tonight. We offered the Smart Snack Plan a la carte items that are low sodium, whole grain, and lower in sugar. A lot of the items we offer look like what you're going to get at the grocery store, like the hot Cheetos, but our Cheetos are whole grain and lower sodium, and a lot of the additives have been taken out versus what you're going to find at the grocery store. We also conduct taste testings with our students to see what they want to see on the menu. This year we so far had a taste testing with our high school kids on some recipes that we would like to roll out for next year, some of our vegetables, some changes to those. So we try to get student feedback as much as we possibly can. And as far as safety and compliance, we're always working with our staff, training them on food safety and allergen awareness. We work closely with our school nurses. We're always sending information back and forth. If I find out about an allergy, let the nurses know. The nurses do the same thing with me to make sure that we're always trying to make sure that we keep the kids safe while they're here, especially when it comes to their food allergies. The School Bill 3114 discusses additives that are going to be removed for next school year. So some of those, it's a big long list, but just a few of the ones that we recognize or that I recognize are the food dyes or food coloring. So some of the red, yellow, and blue dyes will be removed from the items that we offer. So a lot of the manufacturers are already ahead of that and are working toward meeting that for next school year. We are also reading every label of every food item that we offer to make sure that these additives are not in the foods that we have. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
My first one is some issues that we've encountered, at least this school year, is students that are arriving late, whether they're bus riders, the bus picks them up late, or they just arrive late because their parents have issues dropping them off and stuff, and then the cafeteria is closed and they're hungry. So is there a way or something that we can work, maybe nutrition services can work maybe with the nursing department, and maybe we can keep some stuff at least with us, and maybe any meals that are left over, or like in the case like when they give cereal, if they can give us like some cereals to keep there for students that are arriving late, because like you said, if they're hungry, they're not going to concentrate.
Right, absolutely. So a lot of times if we know ahead of time, like, hey, the buses are going to be late, transportation can let us know that, and then we will contact the cafeteria and say, hey, make sure you stay open because bus whatever is going to be late. So we try to do that if we know ahead of time. But anytime, I always encourage, nurses or whoever to, call our office, go to your cafeteria and, see if they have anything available, because we want to get those meals to the kids. Mm-hmm. Now, we do have strict meal service times that we have to report to TDA. So they expect that if they walk into one of our campuses and we say that our breakfast ends at 8:15, that the door is shut at 8:15. It starts at 7:30 and it's over by 8:15 or whatever the times are, especially during our audit seasons. That's their expectation. It's not a minute earlier and it's not a minute later. So that's why a lot of times when it's supposed to end at 8, it ends at 8. But in those situations, we want to make sure the kids eat. So if y'all just let our office know or let our kitchens know, we'll absolutely do anything we can to support those kids.
And then my second question is, we ran into the issue where school cafe menu is not matching. Okay. And when we have our diabetic students that are getting their lunches and stuff, sometimes we have to go back to another day that we remember, like, oh, okay, I think they had this item this other day last week and stuff like that.
So that's just one thing that I did want to point out,
Yes.
and regarding the school cafe and
Yes.
the card counts.
That is always a struggle when we have substitutions. We try to post our menus at least a month ahead of time so parents can see the whole month's menu. But anytime during that, we could have something with manufacturers or our distributor can't get something. So occasionally we do have menu substitutions. I try my best to make sure I communicate those out. But in those times, you know, I try to give everybody my contact information. If you need my cell phone number, I want people to contact me because at any time I can jump on to any computer that I'm at and get that card information for y'all. If there's ever anything y'all need, I'll be happy to get it to you because I know you got those students there needing y'all and y'all need that information. And then our supervisors have that information as well. So if I'm not available, there's other people in our office that can get that to you. But I know it's time sensitive. You need it right then. But we do try to update that information as much as possible. The school cafe will give nurses and parents the most up-to-date information that we have.
Thank you.
I tell everybody, call me. I'll give Nurse Grant my cell phone and then you can get it to the nurses too. Because sometimes I'm out and about. And we do have the vacancy for our registered dietitian. So if you know anybody, send them our way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Escobar. Y'all do some important work. Thank y'all for everything that you bring to the district. Alrighty, any other comments, questions for the greater good of the group? Go Panthers, yes! Talk about this game. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you though, I'm gonna watch this game from the house. I can't fool with the crowd. I think I went to every regular season game at the high school except for one, but this playoffs, I'm rooting for them, but I'm gonna do it from the house. I'm watching it in National High School. Alrighty, y'all. Our next Shack meeting, February 11th in 2026. It seems like a long way away, but as fast as this year has been going, it's gonna be here before you know it. So once again, thank y'all for coming. If you did not sign in, please do so. Otherwise, leave all of your copies there at the table, and we will see you guys next year. Thank you.